Hi, it's Cooking with Susie. I'm Susie. So tonight, I think we're gonna make one of our super favorites. It's called ribollita. It's an Italian peasant soup. It's so great because we can make it in about 40 minutes. So book up recipes. And remember, recipes are meant to be distorted and changed and augmented. All right, let's start. Recipe, New York Times. Nope, San Francisco Chronicle. All right, here we go. Okay, so this is pretty much everything you need for this recipe. A lot of versatility. The things that you must always have, they're trifecta. Right here, this trifecta. And then this is the part where you can really play around. It actually calls for Savoy cabbage. We're using red cabbage because I couldn't get Savoy tonight. Calls for Swiss chard. We're using kale. You can use anything. Kale, Swiss chard, spinach, any kind of leafy green, collard greens, etc. We're gonna use vegetable broth instead of chicken broth because our family is a lot of vegetarians, pescatarians. We got our tomato paste and we got our chopped tomatoes. I'm going to use a combination of both San Marzano and this handy dandy fire roasted as a little kick, little spice. And then it actually calls for cannellini beans. If you didn't know this, cannellinis are essentially white kidney beans. Regular kidney beans are red. So we're going to do a mixture. The recipe actually calls for 3 cans. I find that sometimes it's a little overwhelming, so we're gonna go with 2. We got our spices, oregano, bay leaf, and red pepper flakes.
No talking.
Okay, so we've got our trifecta, our carrots, onions, and celery. We are going to saute this for about 10 minutes. And then while we're waiting, that's 10 precious minutes that we can spend prepping everything else. So we've got some garlic. Next thing we're going to do is prepare the garlic. We're going to prepare all the other ingredients while we're waiting for our 10-minute trifecta to continue cooking. We got our 2 cans of canned tomatoes. Like I said, I do 2 different varieties. Anything, doesn't matter, anything. This one opens by itself, easy peasy. These, I will say though, if you're going to use the San Marzanos, you're going to have to trim them. I like to get in there with my fingers and cut them, but you can also use kitchen shears. It's pretty easy. I like to get it and crush them now, but today we'll just go like this. You just chop them, right? Little bitty parts. You don't have diced tomatoes? Use whole tomatoes and just chop them up like this. You don't have scissors? Just squeeze in between your fingers. They fall apart. It's like butter. Super easy. Okay, so our beans, like we said, the recipe calls for 3 cans of cannellinis. I like to do 2 because I don't like my soup to be that dense because this has a lot of stuff in it. It's 1 can kidney tonight, 1 can cannellinis, which are white kidney beans. I love that. What we have to do though is we have to rinse the 1 can and then leave the other can whole. And I'll show you what we're gonna do out in a minute. But first we're gonna rinse the kidney beans. I'll be right back. All right, so the other can of beans, you gotta keep, don't rinse them. You want that starch. You want that liquid that comes in the box or the bag or the can. And what you wanna do is you wanna mash them. So you just wanna mash them up. Sometimes I put them, they ask you to put it in a blender. I don't wanna clean a blender. Mash them with your hands, good old elbow grease. All right, so we're about that time where we're gonna add our minced garlic. I like to use a garlic press, super easy. Boom. I don't scrape until I get it all, so then I only have to scrape once. So just keep going. 4 cloves of garlic, give or take, depends on what you like. We like a lot of garlic. After that garlic is implemented into our dish, we're gonna add 2 tablespoons of tomato paste. Again, don't worry, don't be exact, it doesn't matter. That's about 1 tablespoon. And I'm gonna take a guess that the rest of this is the other tablespoon. There you go. So I'm a big believer in veggie broth in this concentrated form. It's just amazing. It's cheap, it's easy, it's always there. And I usually boil some water so that it'll dissipate a lot faster, right? So we need 4 cups. And you can use a whisk, but again, I'm not gonna dirty a whisk. I got my spoon, my handy dandy spoon. There you go, it's already evaporated, reconstituted itself. All right, so that's pretty ready. So next, we're gonna toss in all our yummies. All right, we've got all of our beans, the squash and the non-squash, the rinsed. Boom. Every last bit. Then we're gonna bring in, remember our tomatoes? We got the ones that we chopped with the scissors. Boom. You might have to chop it some more. No problem. Look, just get in there. Get in there. It's fine. Don't be afraid. Chop them up. And then we have our other ones. Chop, chop. Those are the ones that fire roasted. Look at that. Look at that fire roast right there. That's spice, seasoning. Really good. All right. Then we're gonna add our spices. Remember, we have oregano and we have bay leaves. Usually 2 bay leaves. You don't want to eat bay leaves. Don't forget to take those out. All right. Don't be afraid of them, but don't forget to take them out. 1, 2. Bay leaves are quite the seasoner. They're poisonous, so you don't want to eat them. Again, come from the bay tree. Poisonous. So 2 teaspoons of dried oregano. Unfortunately, we look like we have about 2. That's going all in. Full send. We're gonna do just a titch of these because we got someone in the house who's not that keen on them. Just a little pinch. Then we're gonna make that all nice, marry that together. Now you notice we haven't done salt and pepper yet. I think we can do some salt and pepper. We're gonna have to do some salt and pepper. You probably noticed we haven't done that. We got our, oh, look at that, out of salt. Woo! We're gonna have to grind up some salt. For now, we'll just use our delicious, beautiful salt. What do you call this? Lake salt. I don't know, flake salt. Lake flake salt. That's what we'll call it. Then you're gonna cover with our 4 cups of vegetable broth or chicken broth, any broth you like. Well, not beef, but veggie or chicken. I do veggie because of our veggies in the house. Don't worry about those bits and bobbles. They'll disintegrate later. So we're gonna bring that to a nice boil. And then we're gonna add our cabbages, our refuges. All right, so here we are. We're waiting for the soup to come to a boil. And then we're going to add our roughage. Again, you can use anything. Swiss chard, cabbage, collard greens, whatever. We happen to have beautiful lacinato dado kale in the house, so that's what it is. We just rinsed it a little. I'm deboning it. pretty easy. You don't even need a knife. You can do it this way. So we're gonna do it. It calls for basically 3 cups of both cabbage and Swiss chard. So don't worry about it. 2 cups is fine. Again, the soup is very forgiving. It's about the density that you want in that soup. So we're gonna do a rough chop of our kale. Don't chop your fingers. I once did that. For Thanksgiving, I was making kale. I think I was in a hurry.
I remember that.
I had to drive myself to the ER. And you know what? I chopped the pad. But there you go. Boom. Cabbage. Don't worry about how you cut it. Just, again, don't worry. But with cabbage, you don't want to. You want to get it pretty thin because cabbage, you don't want to have a big old long gnarly piece of cabbage in your mouth. So. All right. So our soup is rolling boil. We're gonna add our kale. Watch how that'll just disappear like no one's business. And then our cabbage. Look at those colors. It's just beautiful. I like the purple cabbage. I did it for the first time last month, and I was, it's all I had in the house. And honestly, the taste was really great. The color's beautiful, lively, delish. So we're gonna just bring that to a simmer and then cook this puppy for about half an hour. All right, so here we are. It's been about 30 minutes-ish, 30, 35. As you'll see, we have some nice consistency. Each spoonful is gonna have something of everything. And like I said, if you had a 1/3 can of beans in here, it would just be thicker. But we like to dip our bread in here. In fact, the whole purpose of this recipe, ribollita, is where you take your day-old bread, you put it on the bottom of the bowl, and then you pour the soup on top. And it's called the peasant soup, because you can just resuscitate your fabulous day-old bread. The bread on the bottom, the soup, and then Parmesan cheese. Parmesan cheese is a must. Don't skimp on the bread. This is the most beautiful rosemary salted bread from Della Fattoria in Petaluma. My favorite bread. I go there, I buy 4 loaves at a time, and I freeze them. They're remarkable. So here you have our ribollita soup. We have our peasant bread on the bottom, our soup, and our sprinkling of Parmesan. Bon appetit. Enjoy. That's it.
Boom.
All right. Michael, come taste this.